Welcome to the Ages of Rock podcast with your hosts Bill Algie, Dennis Talbot, and Alan Tate. We are three guys who have one thing in common, a love of rock and roll. Our goal is to talk about all things rock. We hope you find this show intriguing, funny, and occasionally highly opinionated. Enjoy! Hey folks, welcome to another episode of the Ages of Rock podcast. This is episode number 260, and this week we have John Jeffrey and Gene Schmidt on to talk about a Kiss tribute album called Buffalo Rock City, and they did it as a fundraiser. So we may have someone else join us during the chat. We don't know yet for sure, so if someone just pops up, Anyway, John, tell us about this CD.
Well, and basically the record came out of the conversation that most Kiss fans have of why is it that the band seems to play the same songs all the time, and how many great songs that there are that they never play live, you know? And I understand the reasoning behind it, because playing in a Kiss tribute band, it's very true what Paul says. If you're playing to a mixed grouping of people, like you would whether you're playing at a large venue like an arena or a stadium, or if you're playing at a smaller scale like a theater or a club, you have a percentage of people that you're playing to that are diehard Kiss fans, and a percentage of people are the plus ones, the girlfriends, the friends, the people that are, they want to go see the band that played before you the week before, and they're going to see the band that's going to be at the same venue the week later, so they're not necessarily diehard fans, they're casual fans. So I understand the point behind it, but yet at the same time, it is very frustrating as a Kiss fan that, Kiss plays essentially the same songs all the time in concert, and there are so many great songs that they don't touch on. And it actually wound up after a show that we did back in 2013 that Jody Veletta, who was actually my initial partner on this record, he booked us at a venue in Niagara Falls, New York, that he was booking at. And after the show, we just started having that same conversation that most Kiss fans have. Oh, there's so many great songs. It'd be cool if you guys played this song or if you played that song. And then we started just talking about, it'd be cool. We have so many mutual friends who are Kiss fans and musicians. Wouldn't it be cool if we got together and did like a big jam with all of our, musician friends that are Kiss fans? And then the conversation kind of elaborated, well, if we're going to do this big epic jam, we got to record it. And then it was like, well, if we're going to record it, we have to do it well. And then from then we wound up booking studio time. And ironically, it never wound up being a situation where we had the idea to go in and say, let's record a Kiss tribute album. It just, recording a bunch of Kiss songs, all Kiss songs by default, is a Kiss tribute album. So that's basically the way the idea behind the album actually first came into play.
Well, one of the things that I noticed when I was reading the liner notes is you have quite an array of musicians. How did you recruit some of those musicians, and who were some of those musicians?
Well, are you speaking of the Western New York musicians or the national people that we had involved?
All of the above. It's an impressive list of people.
Well, the Western New York musicians that we picked were, again, essentially friends of ours, myself and Jody's, friends of my tribute band Kiss This, friends of ours. We just basically, thought of people that we'd like to work with and record songs with, because, the fact that you're doing this and you want to keep it fun, you want to work with people that you enjoy being around. So, we really concentrated on, working with quality musicians, but it was also very important to have people that we liked, involved, that we liked being around and working with. And then when it got to the point of, we decided that we wanted to do this with a purpose and do this for a charity, and it really became a reality that we were doing this record. We realized that in order for people to really, take notice of what we were doing and notice the record, it would be important to get some, nationally, worldwide known musicians involved. And I just reached out to a bunch of, musicians that I know personally. And I said, hey, I'm doing this record, it's a charity to help the homeless youth in our area. And I asked if they'd be willing to, donate their time. And everybody who was involved, that you see on the record, they all said yes, and everybody, donated their time.
That's cool.
That's nice.
Yeah, it is real nice.
There's a lot of people in here, man. It's amazing. For sure.
Thank you.
Well, let's do a little bit of name dropping here.
Name drop. Do some name
Sure.
dropping. Let's see. On the
first of all, I have to say, my friend Gene Schmidt, who is here, it was ironic because Gene and we go back to being friends since 1995, and we kind of lost touch. And I had a guy lined up to play the Mark St. John guitar solos on the CD, and the guy at the 11th hour backed out on me, and I was really frustrated and kind of bummed, because if anybody is familiar with the way that Mark St. John played, he's a very unorthodox type player, and there's not that many guitar players that can really play like that. And so it wasn't easy to find somebody who could replicate those guitar solos the way I wanted it to be done. And I just kind of came home and I sat in front of my computer to monitor, and I had my browser down to the taskbar, and I'm just kind of staring at the screen, and I'm thinking of names, and I'm like, Gene Schmidt, and I pulled it up and I searched for him on Facebook. And ironically, what he was doing at the time is he's got a YouTube page where he takes songs and he breaks them down, the songs. He breaks the guitar parts down, all the rhythm parts, the lead parts, everything note for note, and even replicates all of the guitar tones that each, whatever guitar player he's replicating, he replicates all their tones. And I'm like, this guy is exactly what I need for the record. And I hadn't talked to Gene in a number of years, so I reached out to him, and that's how he got involved. And that he was really important, because not only was he involved in the guitar playing, but he actually became one of the co-producers of the record, and was very heavily involved from that point forward with the album.
My pleasure, man. When he asked me to do this, I'm like, you kidding me? Yeah. I hadn't had so much fun in my whole life, really, working on it. Well, and the opportunity to play with the musicians I did get to play with on the album, which is is a like Jody, who we're expecting to show up here. I've known him for a long time. Never had an opportunity to work with him. Rock Rolane played bass on the two Mark St. John songs. I played back with him back when I was in my Van Halen tribute band years and years ago, and it was very nostalgic and great to work with him again. And never worked with the drummer before, so it's just all of it. And I got to meet a lot of local musicians that I knew of and never had the opportunity to meet them. Then they're in my studio here laying out vocals and bass and guitar tracks. So that was a shit ton of fun. We should be name dropping the big names. Oh, man.
Yeah.
Robbie Takak on here. He's a local legend, and he's a legend. But John, you take that over. I overstepped my bounds.
Yeah, yeah. It's funny because Robbie Takak's from the Goo Goo Dolls, and it's ironic because the Goo Goo Dolls being from here, they're a little more known here as opposed to outside of here. Like when they tour, when they do, their regular tours, usually they're the opening band. But when they have their Buffalo stop or they play in the vicinity of Buffalo, when they come here, they always headline, and the band that's normally the headliner opens up for them. So that's kind of like the thing with the Goo Goo Dolls here. But as far as other musicians that I called upon, I got all of Ace's solo band on the record. Well, I'm sorry, not all of Matt Starr, the drummer, is not on there, but we have Jeremy Asbrock, Ryan Spencer Cook, and Philip Schaus, the core of the band. They all appear on the record. They play on 3 songs on the record. Two of them actually appear. Ryan and Phil play together on Dirty Livin'. Jeremy plays on It's My Life, and Phil plays guitar with Ryan on Dirty Livin', and he plays bass on Hard Times. So that was really cool because, I would have really liked the opportunity to actually have a KISS member, past or present, appear on the record. But unfortunately, I couldn't make that happen. So to have, current members of Ace's solo band, I thought that really gave it an authentic, touch to the record. And, Mitch Weissman, who co-wrote While the City Sleeps, I wanted to, kind of have a first of having a KISS co-writer, go back and re-record a song that they had originally written with the band and kind of do it in the way that they originally had it envisioned before, he handed it off to Gene to go, record. And so that was very cool to have Mitch on there. And then, of course, Dean Castronovo, the guy is an amazing drummer and he's an amazing singer. He played on Black Diamond with Bumblefoot, and Bumblefoot is just, to me, Bumblefoot is like our generation's Eddie Van Halen. The guy is just phenomenal guitar player. And I was really surprised when he played the solo and all the guitars for Black Diamond. He really stuck to the authentic guitar parts, the way Ace played it, as opposed to, he definitely has the ability to get pretty exotic with the guitar, but he stayed, he chose to stay more authentic, which was very cool.
Yeah, it's interesting because I've seen those guys I've seen him talk about doing KISS stuff before, and John 5 is the same way. It's I've seen 2 different interviews. They are like, they're KISS fans, and they really don't go away from what was originally played. They like that whole feel of what Ace did back in the day, and it's really cool to hear those guys talk about that it's like that for them is untouchable. It's like that's their which is kind of cool. That's pretty cool. Interesting stuff.
So John, did Ryan and Jeremy and Philip, did they do it remotely, or did they actually come up and actually record, or how did that work?
Yeah, no, the way that the album was done, which is different than any other KISS tribute album, all other KISS tribute albums up to Buffalo Rock City are all compilation records. And what I mean by that is that they're albums that are comprised of different recordings from different studios of varying quality. You could have somebody who went in and spent, you could tell they spent a lot of money on their recording. And then there's somebody who, had a very, basic home setup. And when you listen from, track to track, you hear a variance of quality and the sonics. And being an audiophile myself, that would drive me nuts when because I love collecting and listening to the different KISS tribute albums that came out. But when you would go from song to song and you hear such difference in sound, it would really drive my ears nuts. So doing this record, we wanted to do it in the same vein that a band would record an album altogether. So what we did is we recorded all the drum tracks on the same day in the same studio on the same drum set. So that way the foundation of the record, being the drums, would be essentially the concrete that tied each song to the next. So you'd have that same foundation, and then everything that we added to each of the songs that we recorded is all built on the same foundation. So that's the way that we are able to keep things unified sonically with the record. So, most of the stuff that was done here, the musicians in Western New York, we recorded their tracks either at Joe Teresi in Rochester, New York. We recorded at his studio, who's also one of the producers of the record, or we recorded the tracks at Gene's studio there, Sunset Studio, right, Gene?
Yeah. Yeah, I got a Sunset Boulevard street sign, and now John named my studio Sunset Studio, so it's official. I just hope I don't lose the tax thing about it, because I haven't made any money out of this thing.
The tax man's gonna come knocking at your door.
Find a way.
Cool.
Nice.
Yeah, but all those guys, they sent everything in. Everything was all done. Online. We
Gotcha.
would send. What we call them stems, the individual tracks. We would send the stems to them. Just giving them a basic mix down of the drums, the bass, whatever they needed, a click track, and then they would add their part to that, and then they would send what they recorded back to us. And then we would line everything up and, go through everything. And then, the end, mix down was done by a great, actually, a friend of Robbie from the Goo Goo Dolls. He has a studio here in Buffalo called GCR. And one of the main engineers of that studio, Brad Lockert, he's the guy who mixed the record. And then the final step is we had the album mastered by Jay Messina. And if you guys know Jay's, Kiss lore, he actually mixed Destroyer, although he wasn't credited for mixing Destroyer. He also engineered Destroyer, and he mixed and engineered Dynasty, and he co-mixed Unmasked. So, Jay definitely he's had his involvement in the band. And for me, even though Dynasty and Unmasked probably, as far as Kiss fans go, don't probably have the most heralded, favorite songs, I think the recordings of those records are really super clean and really clear recordings, at least for me, in my opinion. I think in the 70s, if you want to look at the, quality of recordings, like to me, Dynasty and Dressed to Kill are probably the two clearest recordings in the Kiss catalog for 70s.
If you consider, like Hotter Than Hell, in the mud you have to listen to, it's just so muddy. And
Don't be dogging my album now.
No, it's good songs, but it's just the quality is just not there. It's really muddy.
What was the charity that you guys chose, and why did you choose it?
Well, the charity was actually chosen by me personally. We decided to donate to an organization called the Compass House. And the Compass House, they help the homeless youth population here in Buffalo, New York. And the homeless situation in general is something that has always been very personal to me, because, over the years growing up, and it's not even a political thing, no matter who's been in office, it's always seemed that the United States has a history of getting involved in other conflicts and wars and so forth. And we go in and, we get involved in these conflicts, and then we're providing money and aid to these other countries. But yet here in the United States, we still have a serious homeless situation, including veterans, of our military that are homeless. And so that's something that has always struck a chord with me. And so when we decided to, do this album with a purpose, we also were kind of looking at like some of the tracks that we were looking at recording, and it was just kind of coincidental that the songs that we were picking were more of, you'd say, the non-cock rock Kiss songs, some of the more, I guess, serious life issue songs like I've Had Enough, and, songs about, hard times and dirty living, and, just, things of that nature. So when we were looking at the track listing of what we wanted to record and thinking about, a purpose behind it, that's when it kind of clicked with me that we were going to do something for the homeless. And the original song, or rather album title that I had in mind for the album was going to be Back on the Streets, which was one of the songs that we recorded for the CD. But I didn't want it to be like downtrodden or morose or people feeling sad. I wanted people to feel positive about what we were doing. So that's why I came up with the name Buffalo Rock City, because like Paul Stanley says, no matter what city you live in, it can always be a rock city, and Buffalo is a rock city. So, we wanted to represent our area and Buffalo. And so that's how we came up with the name for the record. But yeah, again, it was the homeless situation that again, it was, a personal, connection with myself that we decided to, donate the proceeds to the homeless and specifically work with the Compass House organization.
Great.
Excuse me, that was very cool.
Yeah, did you do any live shows at all for any to raise any money? Was that with the band? Was that ever discussed or anything, or did you do that?
As far as with all the people who participated on the record?
Yeah, or some of the people that participated on the record.
Or just my tribute band. Yeah. Well, because of COVID, unfortunately, we only had the opportunity. My band, we played, I think it was total of 3 shows in 2020. We played 2 shows in January and February, and then COVID hit in March, and we had tons of restrictions until October. And we did a show in October, but that was before the record came out. The record came out in December. And then actually just this past Saturday, we did a show, which is our first show for 2021. And we actually were able to give a nominal donation from the proceeds that we've sold since December, and we donated a check of $2,000 to the Compass House, and we presented the check on stage at the Rapids Theater in Niagara Falls. And the cool thing is that Gene, who obviously played on the record, and Nat Peace, he sings Back on the Streets. That's one of the songs that Gene plays guitar on as well. They were able to come out and they joined us on stage for the encore, and we had a great time. So
That's cool.
it was really cool to be able to actually kind of see our work come to fruition, and be able to make a nominal donation. And we're hoping to raise a lot more money within the next year, and just keep giving and helping the Compass House.
That's very cool.
I forgot all about the timing. I forgot. It seems like it's been out longer than that, but I forgot all about the timing. Everything kind of shut down there for a while. I missed that. Yeah. So I didn't miss the shutdown part. I just missed the timing of the questions.
Now, these guys, they're phenomenal.
Well, COVID actually played a big part in the record itself, because when things shut down last March, the national guys that we got to play on the record, they were all out on tours at the time that got shut down, and like Alice Cooper was supposed to play here in Niagara Falls like March 30th, and March 16th was like pretty much the day when everything just kind of, the shit hit the fan, so to speak, and everything got kind of shut down. So when we started progressing with getting everybody to send in their tracks, really, if that COVID situation hadn't occurred, these guys probably wouldn't have had the time to be able to, record the tracks and submit them. So in a way, COVID actually helped in the recording process of the album. So, at least the way I look at it, something good came out of something horrible.
The positive. You look at the positive on it. So
yes.
That's good, though.
Yeah, I think that's happened to a couple of different bands that have had the opportunity through the COVID thing to reach out and do some stuff they don't normally do or do something different. And I think that's helped. Actually, there's been some pretty good music that's come out of it. Some of these guys that have not put stuff out for a while have put things out. It's pretty cool. I'm telling you, I've listened to this. I listened to it before I got it, and then I've listened to it a couple times since I got it, and I listened to it again the last couple of days because of just prepping for the show so I could ask somewhat intelligent questions, which you'll find to be shocking if you've ever listened to one of our other episodes. But it's not something we normally do.
At least you admit it.
Yeah, that's just a fact. But this is, of all the ones that I've heard, and I don't have all of the tribute stuff, but the ones that I've heard, I really do. This is probably my favorite. And I wouldn't tell you that and bullshit you if it wasn't true, because there's really no point in that. But it was amazing when I listened to this. The stuff that I liked about what you guys picked out for this record was a lot of it is not the stuff that you would find on any other Kiss tribute record. That's the stuff that I liked.
Right.
You got Detroit Rock City, you got Black Diamond, but other than that, pretty much the other stuff I've never heard on another tribute record. Right. And I think that's cool. And actually, when I first heard it and the lead off was, I've had enough. I'm like, that is just freaking badass. I was like, because it's a great song and it never gets played. It never gets played live. It just sits there, but it's such a good song. So I think you guys did a great job with picking the songs that you picked, and the way it's done and the way it's laid out. I think it's a really good record. So hopefully some people will pick this thing up. I do have a question though. So I struggle with this. So is Back on the Streets a song that Vinny, is that been on a record somewhere? Because I could not find it.
It's on the first Vinnie Vincent Invasion album.
Well, I went to the first Vinnie Vincent Invasion record and it wasn't listed. That's why that's where I thought it was. So I must have looked at the wrong one.
You must have.
Yeah. So, and that's okay because I thought I'd heard it before, but I liked it. I just didn't hear it. So I wonder which one. I think that's the one I have. So
I believe that's the first song on side 2, isn't it?
Look at Gene.
It's the second song on side 2.
I was close.
Yeah, it's backwards. Back on the Streets. There you go.
All right. I'll just be, that's okay.
Look, that's right next to Robert Fleischman's mullet. I'll be damned.
Well, I tell you, I did watch when I Googled it, the video popped up of Vinny at the Atlanta Expo where Robert came and tried to save him.
Right.
Hey, look, he finally decided to join us.
It was not pretty.
Hello, Mr. Veletta.
Yeah.
How's it going, fellas?
Oh, hey, I know that guy.
Being fashionably late. Sorry.
And that concludes the interview.
All right, bye. Nice seeing you guys.
Yeah, we're done now.
My daughter was at the Naval Recruiting Station, so
excellent.
I couldn't just say bye. I gotta go.
Yeah,
So,
no kidding.
Right.
yeah, a little crazy, but we'll see what happens.
So we've had your name is Jody, correct?
Yes.
Jody Veletta has joined us, and he was a part of this project. We're pretty good far into the interview, Jody. So
Sure.
I'll
be
just let
disruptive as possible.
I will just let John and Gene continue talking. We've pretty well covered just about everything.
Sure.
So John, Gene, is there anything that you guys want Jody to talk about?
Yeah, actually, because we were just talking before we were talking about Back on the Streets. I believe it was Dennis who was talking about I've had enough.
Yeah, that's Bill.
I'm sorry.
That's
Bill.
okay. I've been called worse. It's okay. not much worse, but worse.
That's pretty bad.
Yeah. Well, again, Jody's the one who's singing lead on that song, and that was literally the very first song that we picked that we wanted to record for the record. So I think Jody, what he could add is he could tell in his perspective how we decided to come up with the project and to pick that song in particular.
Before you get started on that, Jody, I just want to know, did you sing both the Vinnie Vincent and the Robert Fleischman parts?
For the, I didn't do Back on the Streets. I did the I've Had Enough.
Oh, my bad.
No problem.
I feel better now.
Yeah. That would have been tough to do, but I would have tried. But yeah, but I did all the parts on I've Had Enough. So it was I used to work at a cafe in Niagara Falls that rocked really hard. You know what I'm saying? And this local Kiss tribute band was playing there, and John and I are good buddies from eons ago, so we started talking about, typical Kiss tunes that everybody covers, and you guys should do this, you should do that. It's weird with the makeup on singing, some songs that I always wanted to do, stuff like I've Had Enough, and I did the little part that I liked out of the song, and John was like, "Oh, that would be great." And I like doing the Paul Stanley that kind of stuff all the time. So it makes me laugh. So I just spit out a couple lines to John, and he's like, "Oh my God, that's a great idea!" I think I saw the little light bulb come up above his head, and from then it was just kind of off to the races. And I honestly would have probably tried just about any tune off of any album for that matter, but that particular, Animalize and Lick It Up and Asylum and all those, that was like the prime high school sweet spot for me. Early high school, like a freshman just out of 8th grade, and I'm like this huge Kiss head. I got all the posters, all the records, you name it, I had it. And to go from that to actually singing one of those tunes that is, in my estimation, is pretty hard. It's not over the top, but it's difficult. You have to actually make it sound right. And in my opinion, that's where Paul was at his peak singing voice. He was like spot on, sounded great live all the time, sounded amazing on the album. So I was a little bit intimidated for half a second until I started singing it. Like, I got this. So it was.
That's the way to be, though. Really is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just commenting that when that first started playing, when I got the CD, I was like, it was freaking amazing. Because it's something you don't ever hear anybody cover, and you did a great job, man. I'm telling you, it's a really good song. So
I appreciate it.
Yeah.
The screamy part at the end was a little trickery, but that's all me singing. But thanks to John and Jeff, John and Gene being in the room and just nodding their head. I don't think they knew what I was talking about at the time. I said, "This is how we're going to do it. This is how we're going to layer it. This is what I can do. This is what I can't do." And they took my word for it, and it worked out pretty well.
Yeah, I have to say, Jody showed up with his shit together. Like, there was no time wasted. He knew every track that needed to be sung and what parts, and it was just an evening. It was a few hours done. Oh,
that's badass.
Great.
Yeah, that's cool.
I tend to dissect parts and pieces of tunes. I don't do a lot of covers in my band. So when somebody asks me to do a cover, I want to, especially this particular project where we wanted to stay true to the album tracks, I had to sit there and dissect it and go, okay, that's 3 voices, that's 4 voices, that's 2 voices. You have to figure it out and pick it apart and kind of dissect it and then put it all back together, hopefully in the right order. There was a little trial and error here and there, but for the most part, you could kind of hear what was going on. So that's how I learned how to sing it the right way.
Cool. So can I ask?
I was just going to say, although Jody is only credited for singing lead on I've Had Enough and his band's track Jungle. He did a ton of overdubs. He did all the multiple backing vocals in Dirty Livin'. He did. He basically doubled all of Mitch Weissman's parts in While the City Sleeps. It's like you can't even tell where Mitch ends, Jody starts, Jody ends, Mitch starts. He just came in and he was like the magic glue that glued so many of the tracks together. So, I mean, although on paper he's only credited with singing a couple songs, he really added a lot to a lot of the songs on the CD. So Jody was and being the fact that, you know, like I said, he was there from the beginning and shared the same vision of doing something, like you guys had mentioned, that these are songs that aren't, you know, done repeatedly on other Kiss tribute albums. You know, he was such an important part of the record from the very beginning, just, you know, idea of doing the record through, you know, the recording, the mixing, reviewing all of the, you know, the different masters and so forth. So I got to give credit and thank Jody immensely for all of his contributions to the record.
No problem.
So can I ask each of you guys a question then? What is your favorite Kiss song?
Oh man.
So if you could only do one song for a tribute record, what song would it be?
Defer so I can think.
Do what?
I'm deferring to those guys so I can think about that one first.
Man, that's like, which one of your kids is your favorite? I still love stuff off of Alive, the first record. So even though obviously they're album tracks, oh man, this is so hard. I still love Parasite. That's got to be probably my all-time favorite Kiss tune. It's just, I often wish that Kiss would have stayed on that path for a little while and rode that, you know, tough guy badass tune track path instead
You're
of.
not alone.
Yeah. But I mean, you know,
count me in.
yeah, there's so many great ones, but that's probably, if I had to pick one tune, that would probably be, you know, somebody says, I never heard of Kiss. What are they? And I go, here, listen to this first.
Yeah, no
I
shit.
I give them Parasite. So,
I
listen to
agree.
that.
Parasite is a great song to introduce anybody to Kiss.
Yeah. That's my pick.
All right, John.
Well, it's hard for me because I think he asked kind of a two-part question. He said, what's your favorite Kiss song? And then also asked, what song would you want to record for a tribute album?
Oh, that's
correct.
True. Yeah.
Right. So, like, for me, I would probably have to agree with Jody, and probably Parasite is one of my all-time favorite Kiss songs. But at the same time, you know, reviewing what's been recorded, I think I would have to give it to Anthrax for recording the quintessential cover of Parasite on a tribute album. So that wouldn't be a song that I would pick that I'd want to do. For me, I as far, because I mean, obviously we've done, you know, 13 songs on the first record, and let's say if there's going to be a second record, very possible if, I would have to say a song that I would want to do, it would be Save Your Love off Dynasty. That's one of my favorite
Nice.
I like that song,
really
too.
songs. The guitar solo in that song
That's a spectacular
is just
solo.
fantastic.
It is. It's actually one of those.
And Got Love for Sale.
Yeah.
Those guitar solos, because obviously being a huge Ace fan, and today is Ace's birthday, you know, just the way he played those two songs is just Fantastic.
And on Save Your Love, the background vocals are so odd.
Because they're just like a really kind of it's just kind of real monotone.
I love
like
those
that.
backing
I like
vocals.
that. I do too.
And they did that similar in Under the Rose. I like that too.
Yeah.
That's very similar. Yeah. But that lead in there, like you said, it's so unlike Ace. It is actually very melodic. It's kind of a bluesy type thing. And it's well played, which is odd for Ace because, he's just known to being sloppy and doing this and kind of, and Ace does, he rehashes the same type of notes and the way he plays stuff. You hear it all throughout every solo that he does, but that solo is just different. I mean, it's just completely different than anything he ever done. It almost makes you think, was that actually Ace playing on the recording? Because it's so different, really. So,
well, I'll give you a little bit of Ace knowledge about his guitar solos, in case you guys don't know, is that Ace actually pre-wrote and composed every single one of his guitar solos that he recorded on Kiss and his solo records going up to Anomaly. Anomaly was the first album where the producer told Ace that he didn't want him to pre-write his solos, that he just wanted him to play everything off the cuff. And for me, I think that was a horrible idea, because not that I dislike all of his solo albums from Anomaly till now, but I have to say, I think his guitar solos, like you said, are pretty much kind of a rehash of most of his standard licks, as opposed to everything he had done up to that. He would literally, he would have parts written out that, you're like with the Save Your Love solo, that's a melodic, you could tell it's composed, that he actually took time to think out the solo as much as he did writing the chord progressions of the song.
Yeah, I agree.
Did you come up with a song yet, Gene?
You still thinking?
It's funny because I fall into that general population that you play the hits to as far as Kiss. And it's terrible. But I mean, my wife and I went to see John's band this weekend. And I just remembered as we were sitting here that they started playing Dr. Love. And I turned to my wife and go, "This is my favorite Kiss song." So there. I mean, I thought it's like
nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with that. That's right up Alan's alley.
As you're talking about doing a cover, then you started getting into this intricate shit. So I don't know. I'm going to stick with the favorite tune.
Yeah, that's cool. I think it was cool too to find a song off of Carnival of Souls. So that's one of my favorite records. It gets shit on all the time by people, and I just love that record. It's just different. It was a great follow up for me. It was a great follow up to Revenge. And the fact it never got toured just still pisses me off.
It sucks. Yeah, it'd been great.
It is what it is. But yeah, Bruce Kulick was freaking on fire. So
and to me, those two albums were the progression that I was talking about.
Yeah.
When they came out, I'm like, oh my God, yes, I can finally grab onto this again.
Yes.
This is something they're re-grabbing my interest. They're not being cutesy and, fruity and fluffy. They're just being dirty and like down to earth, cool, regular rock band with a little twist of sparkle in there. But it was like, oh my God, yeah, this is what I want. And then that was
down the road you got Monster.
Well, they can't all be hits, I guess.
But, it's funny. I described the first time I saw the video for Unholy. I was like, my boys have their balls back. Yes.
Yeah.
There's no way that any other track could be better than that one on this.
Well,
record.
it was a good look
Really
for them.
good.
I mean, they actually looked good again. I mean, they went through that,
mod phase.
The mod phase, and it's like, man, now you finally got, you got your shit together. And that was short lived,
But great tour.
But that was a great tour.
Yeah,
that was a great
tour.
Revenge was a great tour. Yeah.
So, yeah.
All right, John, where can our listeners find this album?
The easiest way to locate it is go to the main website, which is www.buffalorockcity.com. And there you can get all the information about the record. There's the press release on there. It has all the credits of everybody who played on the album, the recording, mastering, all that information. And then has the option to go and order it. And you can purchase the digital download. You can purchase the CD, and right now we have a pre-sale for vinyl. We have a limited edition vinyl that's coming out in July, and I'm telling everybody now to jump on the pre-sale, because literally the way the pre-sales are going is that the vinyl is going to be sold out before July, before the album even comes out. So yeah, I mean, and I always suggest everybody, if you're gonna buy it, go with the CD option, because when you pay for the CD, you get the free digital download and you get the free streaming. So they offer a free streaming app through Bandcamp. That's the actual merchant site that we utilize for Buffalo Rock City. So you can download their streaming app, and you can listen to it on whatever digital platform that you want. And then you get the actual CD in the mail that has the cool artwork. It has the booklet that has all the liner notes and, all the minutia as far as where it was recorded, who played on what, so that's what I suggest as far as the best option to purchase.
Cool.
Right
I'll have to get me
on.
some vinyl.
Well, John, Gene, Jody, we appreciate you guys coming on and talking about this album. The cause is, you never hear anybody do any causes for homeless, let alone homeless youth. So my hat's off to you guys for the charity part of it. My hat's off to you guys for, the professionalism of the recording, everybody that you got on it, what you did yourselves. And thanks.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
Yeah. Hang on a minute. I'm going to take us out of here. Visit us on agesofrock.com. Find our past episodes and links to our social media. And until next time, peace out, people. Thanks for listening to the Ages of Rock podcast. If you haven't done so already, be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel, like us on Facebook, and most importantly, tell all your friends. Remember, you're never too old to rock. Until the next episode, peace out, folks.